The holiday season is in full swing, which usually means that our health and wellness goals are not. So, today we're going to cover some of my tips and tricks and then y'all's tips and tricks for the ultimate 2024 holiday health and wellness guide. Welcome back to Wellness Big Sis the Pod. I'm your host, Dr. Kelsey Vick, a board certified orthopedic doctor of physical therapy, a pelvic floor physical therapist, and the owner and founder of the Ella Wellness Sisterhood. And we're going to keep it light. We're going to keep it fun today. I am pre-recording this actually because I will be traveling during this time. So this was like fresh on my mind when I was trying to think of holiday episodes to batch for you guys during this time of year. And I feel like my routine is constantly tweaking when it comes to holiday health and wellness, but I feel like I have it relatively on lockdown a little bit, or I have some non-negotiables for me that I always do when it comes to the holidays and when it comes especially to holiday travel. We'll get into it today. We'll get into my tips. We'll get into y'all's tips and tricks because I did ask part of the Wellness Fixes community what you guys also do to keep up your overall health and wellness routines during this crazy fun time of year. So first off, a few of the challenges that we all face when it comes to holiday health and wellness, that's how I kind of broke it up is like, okay, what are the challenges that we face? And then what are some actionable tips that we can do to help combat some of those challenges during this crazy time? So for me, my primary one is probably my digestion, and it might be TMI, but travel, even if it's a road trip for like 2 hours, it does not sit well with my stomach at all. Like there have been times where it has taken me like my body like 5 days to acclimate in order to actually like digest things appropriately. So digestion is one of my primary challenges and something that is probably the one that I'm still tweaking the most. I have consistent routines that I do now that have definitely helped and significantly helped, but there are some other factors that I'm trying to incorporate a little bit more to just keep it that much more regular and that much more consistent, especially when I travel. The other thing, consistency with movement. Again, we all struggle with this. It's really hard during the holidays and with travel. A lot of the times I struggle also with bloat, and I'm sure many of you guys also struggle with bloat because we're eating foods that we might not normally eat. We are going into other people's homes who are cooking for us, probably wonderful foods, but also foods that might be a little heavier than what we normally eat, or it might be more food than what we normally eat. So bloating is a holiday health and wellness challenge that I'm sure many of us struggle with. Trying to maintain healthy routines while also balancing family time. And I don't know if I'm the only one that struggles with this, but a lot of the time when I'm with my cousins, when I'm with my family, I don't want to pause that time in order to go do something for my own health and wellness because it feels a little bit selfish, right? Even though I know that working out and moving my body helps me feel my best, helps me also when it comes to digestion and maintaining that good routine while I'm in that holiday season and possibly traveling, I still feel guilty about that. So that's one of the challenges. Sleep, of course, because a lot of times when we are traveling or when people are staying at our homes, sleep is going to be affected. And then the last two, mental sanity. Again, I love the holiday time frame, but I know that some conversations are hard to have with other family members, and there can be a lot of pressure or a lot of grief or just a lot of emotions when you are with that much family and friends over the holidays. And then lastly, our immunity. The last thing we want to do is be sick over the holidays. I actually got COVID, I think it was back in 2020 over the holidays, and was the absolute worst. So immunity is definitely one of the challenges. Keeping our bodies healthy, especially when we aren't in our routines, when we're not getting in all of our movement, when we're not having good sleep, when we're not eating the foods we normally do, like all of that can be a recipe for an immunity challenge. So I've kind of broken it up into categories, and it's just going to be a little bit of a wellness girl chat of things that I do and then also things that you guys recommended for an overall holiday health and wellness guide. So we'll start with probably the most important one because it's probably the one that can affect and really negatively impact our holidays, and that's our immune system. So I've learned that in order to keep my immune system healthy during the holidays, whether that's with travel or not, I need to start well before the holidays. So that includes taking my NAC, which helps. Basically, it's a preventative for flu symptoms and flu-like symptoms. So I take it preventatively, and it's totally okay to take it preventatively in addition to reactively, but I definitely take it preventatively. I take a lot of vitamin C, zinc, and vitamin D as well in order to really boost up my immune system. Again, movement, hydration, sleep also play a role in my overall immunity, but I really keep my supplements on lockdown, especially before I travel, so that I can really strengthen and really boost up that immune system. And then I always pack those same supplements when I am traveling so that I can continue that same routine. When it comes to digestion and my GI system and trying to keep things regular, again, this is the one I'm constantly tweaking, constantly trying to optimize. And right now, I feel like I have some of it down a little bit, but there is always room for improvement for me in this category. But pre-travel, I make sure to load up on my probiotics and magnesium. If I take one a day, I usually try and bump it up to 2 for each, right? Probiotics in the morning, magnesium at night. Magnesium is more of a smooth muscle relaxant, so it really does help keep things regular. Again, as long as I'm incorporating some additional digestion help, which is extra hydration and movement. Both of those two things, pre-travel and during travel or during the holiday season when it's extra stressful, those are like my 4 non-negotiables. My probiotics, my magnesium, movement, and lots of water. If I feel like I'm off in one of those categories, my digestion GI system goes like haywire and I won't poop for like 5 days. So TMI, but this is one again that I'm constantly tweaking and I constantly need to keep on top of in order to make sure that I'm feeling my best during travel and during the holiday season. The other things I'm trying to be better about incorporating is breath work. And I know I preach this a lot, but breath work really helps us cue into that parasympathetic rest, digest, muscle recovery part of our nervous system. So really helping to decrease that overall stress, even if it is that good stress around the holidays, because you're with family, because you're excited, because you're with friends and all your loved ones, but really focusing on that breath work, focusing on that parasympathetic nervous system to really say, okay, body, calm down, digest the food. That way we can get things moving and get back to where we need to be. The other thing that helps, especially during travel for me, is keeping my breakfast similar. So I unfortunately am that like picky sister, daughter, cousin, daughter-in-law that has to have my same breakfast every morning. And usually that means my husband and I will just like drive to the grocery store and get sort of a modified version of the breakfast that I eat every morning. Again, in order to keep things moving consistently, in order to have the right stimulus for my digestion to keep working. Like, hey, not that much has changed, right? We're still getting our probiotics, our magnesium, our sleep, our water, our movement, our hydration. We're still getting the same breakfast to really cue that response. Caffeine also helps a lot. So I always try and have, even if it's not my same version, like I eat Greek yogurt every day for breakfast with flax, with chia, with granola, with dark chocolate. But even if I can modify that and just do the Greek yogurt during travel and then also get some sort of coffee, latte caffeine situation, that magically helps my digestion. And I know you guys probably have your own, but for me, that is what really works. And then I know all of those were travel tips, but another just general travel tip I have, especially when it comes to flying and honestly even road tripping, but I always over moisturize my skin as well. This is sort of like an asterisk when it comes to travel, but I always like over apply moisturizer to my body and to my skin because there's something about travel that just like really sucks it out of you and makes it sort of like my skin feel raisiny, if that makes sense. So I always overhydrate and I over moisturize, especially on my face and my hands too, during whatever sort of travel that we're doing, whether it's a road trip or a flight. When it comes to movement, one of my biggest health and wellness tips for the holidays is to just give yourself some grace. I know for me, again, I struggle with that guilt of like taking time for myself and moving for myself and my body and my digestion, but then also wanting to be with family. And so one of my best tips is to combine the two, habit stack the two, where we're really focusing on that movement, focusing on that workout, even if it's not the same workout that you're used to doing, focusing on moving with your cousins, with your friends, with your family in some way to really build that quality time and not sacrifice either one, and habit stack both to really help your body and then also help your overall wellness when it comes to relationships and quality time with your family and those that you love. Another one of my tips for movement, and again, this could be a habit stack, but it's kind of the opposite one of what I just said. Sometimes we do need a break from all of our family, from all of our loved ones. A lot of the time, like I have a very large family, and when we're with everyone, it's a lot of cousins, it's a lot of aunts, it's a lot of uncles, it's a lot of input, and sometimes the best version of me needs some time away. And I think the best version of those around you sometimes needs a little bit of quiet time to themselves. So using that workout, even if it's 5, 10, 15 minutes, to just really like take a step back, do something for your body, for your mind, take a little bit of a reset before you join back in with the family so that they're getting some of the best versions of you rather than some of the crankiest, angriest, shorter versions of you, because you haven't had that time to mentally reset and refresh and refocus inwardly before you present yourself outwardly. So I know those movement tips are like opposite, but they're both habit stacking with something else to where you're really approaching this time of year as the best version of yourself and as the like happiest and most proud version of yourself, rather than someone who is super short and cranky and angry with either yourself or those that you love. Okay, another struggle that we all have is probably sleep. Again, whether people are staying at your house or whether or not you're traveling, sleep is going to be affected in some way. So there's new beds, there's new routines, there's new people. Again, your body might be heightened, have this not even observed stress, but this like felt stress that you might not even notice until you try and rest your head at night and your heart rate's pumping, your mind's racing, you're just have a harder time calming everything back down. So sleep is going to be affected during this time. So some of my tips and tricks revolve around what you can control. Control the variables within your sleep environment with your sleep hygiene that you can't control. So for me, I always sleep with mouth tape. I love my mouth tape. I feel like it really, really helps me wake up a little bit more clear-headed and quicker, sharper thinking. So that's definitely where I want to be during the holidays. So I always pack my mouth tape. And then keeping your environment the same as it always is at home as much as you can. My parents used to travel with a sound machine. They still do. Even as a family, if we were like in the same hotel room, they would always have the sound machine on to like block out noise. And to this day, my parents still have a sound machine in their room. So that's one of their ways of keeping their environment very similar no matter what travel situation they're in, whether it's a hotel or staying at someone else's house. They always have that sound machine going to really try and create that atmosphere and mimic that atmosphere that they have at home. And then something that I'm going to try this year revolves around time change. If you are traveling across the country or across the globe, I'm going to try this year actually, because we have a pretty significant time change difference that we are going to be traveling this week, I believe, when this episode's released. But try and pre-prep your travel so that you're reducing jet lag when you get to your certain destination and can really optimize the time that you have there rather than feeling super sleepy and groggy those first few days when you get to your destination. So whether that's 15 minutes waking up early, 7 days before, or 30 minutes or an hour, whatever it is, and using caffeine in order to help you stay up later, like however you need to shift your schedule, do that so that you can really optimize that time during the holiday season without having to have as much of those effects of jet lag when you get to your destination. So the last category I have before we get to your tips and tricks is for relationships. And I know a lot of the time tough conversations can be had. There might be people that you are surrounded by that don't hold the same opinions as you, and it might be hard to have this good quality family time when it comes to relationships with others. And then also your relationship with yourself. A lot of the time, again, we want to maximize that time with those that we love, and it gets hard to take that time away to really reset, refocus with ourselves so that we're presenting ourselves to those that we love as the best versions of ourselves. So another struggle, again, that quality time with family and friends. I struggle, especially with workouts, because a lot of the time I want to pull myself away. So I've already given those tips and tricks, but another challenge, again, seeing eye to eye with different family members. Habit stack, again, movement with family time. That also helps the relationship aspect of your holiday health and wellness routine, in addition to that movement, that workout aspect of your holiday health and wellness routine. And then as far as challenges with seeing eye to eye with different family members, approach conversations with curiosity and with an open mind, trying to see where they're coming from. And again, knowing that their circumstances in their life past has created their viewpoints today. And so really just shifting that mindset and maybe being a little bit more flexible with how you approach those conversations and approaching them with curiosity. Again, knowing that your growing up and your life circumstances might be a little bit different from theirs, and that those help to shape our thoughts and patterns. And then I read this quote the other day, specifically for parents, but we always, like, especially growing up as like middle schoolers, oh my gosh, I was like a little brat in middle school, especially to my parents, but knowing that it's their first time living this life too, it's their first time going through these situations, going through these scenarios, their viewpoints, again, this can apply to all family members, not just parents, but I've heard this specifically for parents, and giving them a little bit of grace with how they parented you, but also giving a little bit of grace and extending that towards family, knowing that this is their first time living life as well. And the reason they hold these certain opinions and these certain viewpoints are because they're doing the best that they can as well. And so approaching, again, tough conversations and challenging conversations and maybe challenging personalities with that viewpoint of curiosity and open mind and knowing that this is their first time living life as well. And then lastly, make sure you take some time for yourself. Again, stepping back, whether that's for a workout to create that mental reset, that mental rest, that mental break from your environment, or whether or not that's just a simple, like taking a slow morning, taking a little longer to get ready in the morning, just so you're really going inward and preparing yourself for your environment with your loved ones, conversations with family, friends, playtime, like all the things that we love. But a lot of the times that can drain us. Once we realize we are getting short and angry and cranky, that's a little bit too late. So if we can preventatively work in some quality alone time so that we can show up as the best versions of ourselves, I think that's also a really healthy way to approach overall relationships this holiday season. So a few of your own tips and tricks. Again, I asked the community, and so these are some of y'all's. And again, I'm very impressed with how they lined up. So I'd love to continue to hear yours, especially if you have your own tips and tricks for digestion, because that's still one that I am currently trying my best to work on and tweak and improve as much as I can. But one of y'all's tips and tricks, remember there will be another meal, and don't fill yourself up on one meal because the next one is coming. So don't feel like you have to eat all of this food because this meal is so yummy. There will be another one coming. So don't make yourself uncomfortable because of all of this good food. Just know another meal is coming. I thought that was a great tip. And then this one, working out with my family to keep it fun, and it makes it not feel like a workout. So again, that habit stacking, that quality family time while making a workout a little bit more fun, because you're able to do it with people that you might not be able to always do it with. I know this, gosh, it was in the fall, I guess, October, we had one of my cousins got married, and it was so much fun to be able to have some quality family time with some of my cousins by going to a workout. And it was a hot Pilates, yoga, high intensity flow based classes. And we did it, I think 3 days that week. And it was just so much fun because it was a different movement and form of movement than what I'm used to. They're able to share one of their passions and something that they love, which is this workout class. And we're able to connect in that way and just have this good, solid quality time while we were in town for my cousin's wedding. So the same thing applies for the holidays. Another one, again, separate myself if I am overstimulated. I think that is so self-aware, because again, a lot of times I get too short and too cranky and I go past my point of overstimulation, and by then it's a little bit too late. So if you can try and prep yourself and take some time away if you do become overstimulated, or even before, so that you're never reaching that point. Okay, another tip was around staying hydrated. So she says, make it a priority to drink water. It can be water at every meal, beginning and end of the day with a bottle of water, or however you can get it. I find if I carry it around with me, I will drink it more than if I don't carry it around with me. So very good point. I do feel like anytime I travel with a water bottle, I know it's mine, versus anytime I show up at someone's house and just get a glass of water from their counter. Sometimes I'm oh, is that my water? I just don't drink as much. So very good tip around staying hydrated. For a workout one, this girl says, have a walk with the family, play pickleball or a family sport outing. It doesn't have to be a gym workout, just movement. And I feel like that's a really good point, because some of the time, and I know I used to be this way, okay, if I'm not lifting weights, that's not a true workout, right? But that's totally not true. It can be just staying active and generally promoting activity throughout your day. It doesn't have to be a formal workout, whatever that means for you, whether that's reformer Pilates. You have to be doing reformer Pilates in order to consider it a workout. You have to be doing mat yoga, hot yoga in a super hot studio in order to, whatever your workout ideal is, it does not have to be that way on vacation. So another great tip. For routine, there was a tip, try and keep the routine things that get your day started and ended. So sort of, what are they called? Bookends, bookend your day with routines that you have at home and carry that routine over to your vacation. Whatever that might be, skincare, shower, bath, vitamin supplements, having a part of normal day makes it not as big of a disruption disruption to the system. Awesome, awesome tip. I loved this one too when she submitted this one. A true break. It is healthy to have rest and a break from work. Enjoy the time away so you can be refreshed, getting back in the swing of life once you return to work daily life. Do things you enjoy / don't normally get to do during the work week. Spend time with family, etc. So I love this tip because yeah, a true break. Use this time to really just take that break, take that mental rest, and do things that you're not normally doing in your day-to-day life or your normal routines. I love that one. This one was more of a mindset shift. So having the mindset of being grateful towards where I am with my family in this present moment. Just being present and being joyful and grateful for the time that you're able to get with your family, with your friends, with your loved ones. I love that tip. And then this last one, again, just to end on a more humorous one, but I thought this was funny and honestly very applicable. But just because it is cold doesn't mean you can't move your body, especially if you're going to a cooler temperature that you're not necessarily used to, does not mean that you can't move your body. So I thought that was funny, but it sounds like this person definitely has struggled with that before. So I'm sure we all have, because it's so tempting to just stay in our warm cozies when it's cold outside rather than actually moving our body. So that is our Wellness Big Sis Ultimate Holiday Health and Wellness Guide with contributions by me, but then also contributions from you guys. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys are able to take some tips and tricks from this episode and apply it immediately this week and throughout the holiday season. Thank you guys for listening. Again, I hope you guys have the most wonderful holiday season. We'll be back again next week for another fun episode. And again, yeah, thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you guys again on the next Wellness Big Sis, the pod episode.